I'm Adrienne, your sex positive bestie, here for sexy talk, real stories, and tips that just hit. Ready to play? Let's go. I've been slammed, and not in my favorite way. It's hard to get it all in. I'm sure you can relate. I talked to one of my friends earlier, and I said to her, what is going on? Like, I don't understand. I don't feel like I've ever been so busy, so much chaos, so much going on, things to do. You know, life sounds like this. Life is like work, school, drop kid off, pick kid up, work, eat healthy, don't eat that, drink less, work out more, don't forget skincare, brunch with friends, laugh and pee. Like, it's like this whole, it's like the events that life has been lately. It's just nuts between momming and Mr. Right with, quality time and sexy time. Work, oh my God, has been consuming me in a really good way. But, my priority has been there. Family and friends and working out. That's been another huge thing for me. I've been consistently working out 6 days a week. By the way, it's paying off. I'll have you know, this morning I was at the Wawa. I needed to get gas, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get Mr. Right his favorite coffee and a little breakfast sandwich because he always thinks about me and does that for me. So I go in. I just dropped my daughter off at school. It's like 7:45 in the morning, okay? And there's this guy. He comes up to me, and he's like, I just want to say you're the most beautiful woman ever. And I was like, sir, love that. Like, thank you so much. You made my day. But I literally just rolled out of bed. And he was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. He's like, you're gorgeous. You're beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, like that was so nice. But I'm telling you, like, I've definitely been noticing it. Oh, and he also said, whatever you're doing in the gym, keep it up. And I was like, yeah, like leg day and HIIT classes. And I'm walking 10,000 steps a day, every day, which by the way, is harder than you think. But anyways, being consistent. And remember, I have a chat over on Instagram at Midlife Craving. If you send me a DM, I'll add you to the chat. I've been commenting in there, posting workouts, motivating, just trying to get like a good Cravers gym crew together so we can all motivate each other. Anyways, I come home and Mr. Right was just waking up and I said, I'll have you know, I am talk of the town up there at the local Wawa. He was like, oh, Lord. It was funny, but it does make you feel good, right? And it's a nice way to start your day. Another thing, like life stressors right now is tax season. Oh my God, like, the worst ever. But I will say I finally mastered it where I don't owe. This is the first time in like 10 years I don't owe. And so feeling really good about that. Making quarterly payments and maxing out as many exemptions and as many dollars as I can give old Uncle Sam all year round helps me not have this hefty bill every April. But God, and taxes too. And by the way, who the fuck decided that you pay taxes on taxes on taxes on tax, right? Like, okay. And then at the end of the year, we're going to go ahead and let you do all the work to tell us how much we owe you or you owe us. And if you get it wrong, you're going to go to jail. Like, what? Insanity. I will tell you, there is one thing I can count on to de-stress, and that is my Tracy's Dog Magic Wand from tracysdog.com. And if you use code CRAVERS20, that's CRAVERS20, you can get 20% off the wand and your entire order. Let me tell you, it is worth it. It's one of my favorite toys in the world. Mia and I were just talking about it last week. I'm sorry if you hear Humphrey. He's bouncing around and jumping around excitedly in the studio. And yeah, it's just love, love, love my wand from Tracy's Dog. I also found this battery operated toy. I know what you're thinking, like battery operated, really? But let me tell you something. It's been one of my favorite toys, and I need to find a way to get it, to source it, and sell it to you. That's one of my big goals, is to have my own line where I tell you, my tried and true toys that really work. And, I'll give you pro tips for them and something. It's the stuff like that is in the back of my mind, and a goal that I've had for a long time, and I want to work on that. And the battery operated thing, there's nothing like knowing the toy's slowing down a little bit and throwing 2 more double A's in it, and you're like, let's go. Okay. I want to talk today about something that I've been struggling with in relationships throughout my entire life. And that is finding the balance of power, or I guess like a healthy balance of everything. When I look back on my history, sure, I've dated, a lot of men, but in my serious relationships, so, my marriage, I feel like that was just a scam. Like it wasn't even real, which is really sad to admit, but it's true. So I can't even talk about that because it was a scam. But Prince Charming was very real. If you are an OG craver, from the beginning, that's when I was going through my breakup with him, and it was really hard. And in that relationship, I really realized how codependent I was. And it was not healthy, right? Like none of it was really healthy, especially at the end. And Mr. Right is the first relationship that I've had where it's really healthy. And I feel like I make effort to make sure that it is. And he does as well. And because of his past and all the things that he's been through, I feel like we work really hard together. But I want to talk about the balance of power because I find myself thinking about it and trying to manage it a lot. It's funny because I'm sitting here thinking, Mr. Right, if you're listening, just turn it off. I don't want to give my secrets away. I don't want to talk about the things in my relationship. That's something I've been struggling with ever since I got into a serious relationship on this show is I don't want to overshare about our life together because it's real. It's our life. And I think about that sometimes. And I want to keep some of that private, and it's tough because I have overshared everything on this show. But I'm trying to find balance with that as well. But anyways, when I talk about power in relationships, I'm not talking about decision-making, income, because that could be a thing. What I am talking about is the distancer and the pursuer. The one who demands and the one who withdraws. And then also there's a fear and shame thing. I don't have that in my relationship, but it's something important to talk about because I feel like some other relationships probably have that. So for distancer and pursuer, one partner is more invested, and that usually has something to do with your attachment style. When it comes to demand or withdraw, it's when you're constantly asking your partner of something and the other one withdraws, right? Communication is broken, and that's a big thing. And then when it comes to fear and shame, it's when someone plays on your insecurities, or there's emotional pain, or you're focused on your body image and your partner's yeah, you do need to work, whatever. I just want to give you some examples. Those are not things I'm currently struggling with, but I'm going to tell you about it today. So different types of power in relationships too, because I did some research here, financial, physical, sexual, informational, and then things that can throw your relationship off is large income differences, different attachment styles, traditional gender roles are off. And that was a huge thing that I have had in the past. In my past, when I was looking at my last 2 serious relationships, I was a distancer. Always. I did not communicate because I did not want to have any type of drama. I'm not a great person at confronting things. I don't do well with confrontation. I don't know. It's bad. And I also didn't share my thoughts, feelings, wants, and needs as much as I probably should have because I was scared of judgment. So I guess in the past I did have that fear and shame role going on. And the one thing I will say that was the most different between my relationship with Mr. Right and those in my past is that I was always the man. I used to brag about it. I've talked about it on the show. I used to be yeah, my dick is so big. My dick's bigger than everybody's in this room. And until I changed my mindset and really focused on getting into my femininity, being the feminine energy, things really changed for me. It was hard to do at first, but I'm telling you, it really does make a difference. That was something I really, really did. I want to give you some examples of what I'm talking about because as you go on in relationships, and especially when you're in a new relationship when you're older, I'm not trying to say I'm old, but 45 this summer. And there's times where I think to myself, am I doing this right? What am I doing? I feel like he has all the power right now, or I feel like I need to take a step back, or, I don't know. It's weird. I get in my head about it because look, I'm still, growing. I'm still evolving. I'm still working on myself. I don't think that will ever end, but this has been a thing. So for instance, when we first got together, I would be very anxious when Mr. Right was on his phone all the time. I'd be who's he talking to? Because that's old, intrusive thought mind shit that I had. And that would play on me. And I will tell you this, unlike in relationships in the past, I refused to ever address any of it. I have never questioned him. Even if sometimes I felt uneasy, like he'll get calls in the middle of the night or texts in the middle of the night and it's work or it's my brother texting him or whatever. But in the past, I'd be like, oh my God, who's texting him? What is going on? And I would have a lot of anxiety about that. And I have completely healed and gotten over that in this relationship. Thank God. Another thing that I've been working on is reacting without emotions. So, I'll send him a text and he won't respond to me. And I'm like, he's busy, right? And that's okay. But that used to cause me, I'd be like, well, what's wrong? Why hasn't he responded? And something that happened, I think it was like last week, and it actually kind of happened this morning too. So we have like our little routine and our schedule, and it's difficult because Mr. Wright works a completely opposite schedule of me, which can be a bonus at times, but it is tough. And he likes to unwind after work. I learned that, for the first 30 minutes that he's home, give him a kiss and just walk away. Like he needs to decompress. And I know that he needs that time. In the morning, he likes to wake up slow. He's not like a get up and start talking. He likes to check his emails and read, whatever, doom scroll on Instagram, right? And he sends me all these crazy reels, but that's what he needs. And the other morning I was talking to him and he was watching TV and not paying attention. And I was like, it's like talking to a wall. And I got like frustrated and I wish I wouldn't have done that. And I'm like, damn it, you should not have reacted that way. That's what he likes to do. That's like what he needs. And he respects the things that I like to do and what I need. So that was like a fault that I had, or a learning moment for me, if you will. And then I sometimes worry, like, am I oversharing with him too much? Do I tell him too much about my day? Because I need to have a little bit of secrecy. Out there in the world, there's all these, if you're on TikTok or even Instagram, anywhere, right? The world's telling you, put yourself first and don't be, needy. And your partner should love you 10 times more than you love them. And all these crazy things that fill your head. But sometimes I get in my head about it too. And I worry, am I giving him too much? Like, am I planning too much? I do not want to put this man on a pedestal. So maybe I need to take a step back here. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm trying to find the balance. And I want to say something too, like, it's not like I'm playing games. I'm just trying to balance the power here. And I can feel it sometimes. Like today is a perfect example. So he was on a call and I went downstairs and I said, I was getting Humphrey ready. He had to go to the groomer. And I was like, okay, I can go in there and like give him a kiss and say goodbye. But I was like, no, he's doing his thing. Like, let it go. You'll be right back. Okay. So I left and then I came back and he was watching television and I could have gone into the room and been like, hey babe, but I was like, no, like I have shit to do. I got to log in. I got to start working. I have to get my day started. And he came in and he was like, hey, he was like, thank you for my coffee and my breakfast this morning. It really meant a lot to me. And he was giving me like lots of hugs and kissing me. And I bet you it's because he probably was like, something wrong? Like, she doesn't talk to me. She doesn't come in here. Oh my God, Mr. Wright, you better not be listening to me. But like, have you ever felt like that in your relationship? And it's funny because, again, it's not a game, but it's just having that balance, right? I'm not trying to overanalyze these situations either. I'm just trying to give you examples of what I'm talking about. I did some research, by the way, when I was thinking about this, because I find myself thinking to myself, am I doing too much? Is he think he is Mr. Right and can't do no wrong? Like, let me reality check him really quick. And that's not, again, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just trying to find the balance because I feel like in the past, I've always been the fixer, the helper, the person who does it all. And I don't want to be that, right? And I want to make sure that we have a happy and healthy relationship forever. It means a lot to me. So I did some research, and one of the things I read was to think less about the power aspect of things and more along the terms of mutual respect, autonomy, and emotional safety. They gave I got some really good pointers here, and I learned myself, so I'm going to share it with you because you've got to understand if you're in a relationship, like how I feel right now, like what I'm going through. Okay, so the first one is to stay rooted in your own identity, friendships, interests, and goals. And that is one place where I thrive. It wasn't in the beginning though. When Mr. Right and I were falling in love, like we were consumed with each other. And I know that's normal, but I did kind of let my show slide a little bit. I did, focus mostly on him, but I have been very healthy about maintaining my friendships, having my own time, going to the gym alone, doing what I want to do. I no longer am like influenced by, hey, let's go have porch beers. I'm like, nope, I got to go work out. Like I'm having my own independent things. And like I said, I'm working on goals. I have some ideas for the future that I really want to see come to fruition. And so I think that's a really big thing, by the way. And that's something I never did in my relationships in the past. I always just became engrossed with my partner's life and left everybody behind in the dust. So I'm proud to say I have been definitely mastering that. The next one is to communicate clearly and early. This was something that was tough for me. Like I said, I don't do well with interpersonal relationship confrontation. I've learned that about myself along the way. And I would rather just be quiet and take a step back than sound needy or talk to them about what I want at that time. But it's important that you do that. And I've done that with Mr. Right. I wish I could share some of because not everything's perfect, right? And at almost 2 years together, we have definitely had some moments where I'm like, hey, this isn't working for me and we need to talk about it. Like I feel, I want, I need. And I've never done that in the past. I don't know if it was for fear of abandonment or rejection. I don't know, but I don't do that anymore. And it said make sure you say what you need, feel, and want, because without it, you're going to be waiting for resentment to build. And that is so true. And when I was looking back at my previous relationships, I was like, wow, like I had let resentment build so much that I was so mentally checked out. There was no coming back, right? Like I was gone, and it could not be fixed. And so that's a really, really big thing. And to remember to be direct but kind, right? And like small corrections will help prevent bigger issues. I've had conversations with Mr. Right where I am super uncomfortable and I'm like, hey, this isn't working for me. We went through a little rough patch after Max, our dog, died. And it was devastating for Mr. Right because he had him 15 years and my heart was broken into pieces as well. But, he had a really tough time. And I was like, hey, like we have to, I know everybody grieves differently here, but this has been kind of unhealthy and we need to move forward in a different way. And he heard me, right? And like, that's a big thing. I set and respect boundaries. Like we both do that really well together, right? So you talk about what is okay, what's not okay, and being consistent with it too, right? Like, hey, you heard me, like now the actions have to follow through. That's a really big deal. And I will say, Mr. Right and my relationship with him, this is the first one that I've really communicated, overly probably communicated. I think the lifestyle taught me a lot about that, but it's a big deal. Okay. Another thing is to make decisions collaboratively. And talk about the future with each other, right? Mr. Right and I are actually getting ready to have like a little family meeting, if you will, where we are going to set goals and intentions for the rest of the year. We want to do this house project. We want to travel there. We want to meet this goal or save this amount of money. And then even like a little 5-year plan as well, right? Like, and what are we doing every day to make those achievements in the future? That's something that I've done for the first time ever as well. I guess it's because our relationship has been so healthy is, making decisions and planning things together. Another thing is to be okay with disagreement, right? Like focus on understanding. There's definitely a lot of things we don't agree about, and it's okay, right? It's okay to disagree on things and to not be on the same page sometimes. I have to respect that, and he has to respect me. Another one is don't overgive to earn love. And that's something I always used to do. Oh my God, like too much, especially with Mr. July. That wasn't real love. That was limerence. But I sacrificed all of my time needs, wants, like never mind any of my desires. But man, I sacrificed a lot. There's that Taylor Swift song where it's like, you lived for the hope of it all. You sat by the phone just in case he called and canceled your plans. Like, oh my God, I would do that. And I'm so embarrassed to admit that. But that is not healthy. That is not okay. You should never overgive to earn someone's love. If you find yourself in that position, cut it off. Okay, another thing too is to maintain emotional independence. And at first I was like, emotional independence, like what does that mean? And it's basically like not putting everything on your partner. Sure, lean on them, right? And of course, when things go down, like when my dad was, going through all of his appointments and treatments, and then when he was dying, he was definitely my rock during that time. And that's like totally fine. But not every single thing, not every single time needs to be dependent on him and his ear listening or his advice giving. And that was something I really was like, wow, that's a really good idea. Like you need to learn how to soothe yourself and not be so emotional about things, if you will. Like I definitely was in the past. It was funny because I had a kind of a rough day last week. I get overwhelmed sometimes as a single mom, and I have so much help from Mr. Wright. I mean, he helps me with pickups, drop-offs, volleyball practices, games, taking her shopping, feeding her, treating her. I mean, like, look, I could not be more blessed. But sometimes I have like a lot of, speaking of resentment, a lot of built up resentment, and I'm trying to work on that. I reach out to Katina a lot about that, where I get really pissed because her father gets away with like doing nothing. And that sucks. And it was one of those days where like work has been slammed, like I said, and not in the way I like. I can't wait to get slammed again. Good. Anyway, I was so busy, maxed out. I had nothing left to give. And my daughter was just like, she's a teenager. And it was just one of those days where I was just like, oh my God, I am like fucking done with everything and everyone. And I sent Mr. Wright a text and I said, today's just one of those days. Like, I just don't want to be a coworker. I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to be, I just want to take a day. Right. And I said, and he responded back because I was talking about, gosh, it's like so hard. And he said, and it was funny because when I got the response, I was like, bitch. But he was like, what now? He said, what now? And I was like, wow. I mean, yeah, I hated that response. But also, I mean, he's at work. He's busy. He hears it all the time. Does he really need to hear it every fucking time? I can call Katina. I can call Zach. I can call anybody else sometimes with different issues going on because it's really unfair to have your partner as your sole source of emotional support. So I'm working on that. Another thing that I really think helps when it comes to balancing our relationship is practicing mutual appreciation. Like I said, Mr. Wright and I both have had a lot of history of toxic, relationships or things that weren't working out. And we've had some, rough relationships in the past or heartbreaking relationships in the past. And then you learn from them. I often say how I wish that we would have met, like even we were on date night Tuesday and I said, God, I just wish we would have met like 5 years ago, right? Like things would have been different. But reality is we wouldn't appreciate each other and love each other so much if we hadn't learned from those experiences in the past. And I really do love the appreciation that we have for each other. And I tell him all the time, like just like this morning, like, hey, thanks for the coffee. I love you, like stuff like that. And I think when I was talking about power and all that stuff, I think it really comes down to choosing partnership over control. And even though I sometimes struggle with the whole, am I giving too much or do I need to take a step back? It's just something that you're always going to be working on. But I think if you are aware of things and you can find the balance, then we're doing really good. If you're in a relationship, let me ask you, have you ever thought about the balance of power, right? Has it ever caused issues for you? And then I would love to hear from you. What efforts have you made to maintain balance in your relationship? Like I want to learn about all the different relationship dynamics, healthy relationship dynamics, because I know so much about the toxic, narcissistic, unhealthy ones. Okay. So send me an email, midlifecraving@gmail.com. You can also contact me on my website, midlifecraving.com, or send me my email is at gmail.com. Anyways, or send me a DM on Instagram at Midlife Craving, and I would love to hear from you. I will see you guys next Tuesday. And by the way, I'm about to kick Mr. Wright's ass because he just came down here and was trying to fuck with me as I'm recording. So, gotta go.